So guys, today we have somebody very special. I'm actually very excited about this interview because it is on the topic of marketing to the Chinese market and how to enter the market. As you know, it's a very specific place, and we have a guest today with us who is an expert in this and has her own marketing agency that she works in it. And can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you do? Where are we? How did we meet?
First of all, thanks a lot for inviting me here. I think it's a really interesting topic for a lot of businesses all over the world, China. My name is 𝗙𝗎𝗟𝗪, and I've been living in China in 1 week. It will be 11 years.
Wow.
And so we are a marketing agency who helps foreign brands enter the Chinese market. At the moment, as we can see by this beautiful background, we are in Thailand, actually.
In Phuket, so, in one of my favorite coffee shops. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit more about specificities that you have in the Chinese market. First of all, everybody I think knows that China itself is all about different culture. And that is why also maybe it's, I don't know, you correct me if I'm wrong, that is also why it's so difficult to enter the market for the commercial part of it, or marketing to them, to Chinese market.
You know, the thing here, it's a really interesting and thought-provoking question. There are many different cultures, right? Yeah. It's like Middle East, they have their own culture, and you know about this, and they have their own regulations and restrictions. Japan is a really prominent and different market. Here in Thailand, it's also really different. The thing about China is not only about having a different culture and sometimes a sensitive mentality, what most of the people are talking about, but it's about the full background and all the circumstances that build the country, right? Because I think you know that they had kind of a turbulent past in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
I mean, 100 years before it was 1979, right? So before that, there were like many things I don't want to say. And they felt humiliated because before that, they were like a big
huge
power.
Empire.
Yes. Yeah. And then everything was not just destroyed, but they were literally humiliated. So right now they have this type of traditional patriotic direction, you know, in everything, and it helps a lot in marketing as well. So what I was saying is that all those historical events, plus what the government did at that time and after that, and how the businesses started to develop, this created a completely different ecosystem inside China.
Yeah.
And that's why for the moment, well, I don't remember the author, to be honest, but he wrote a book originally on WeChat. It's like a platform. Yeah. Someone says it's WhatsApp or Facebook. Definitely WhatsApp and Facebook have to be happy to be called WeChat. And the guy, he said that it's a walled garden, all right? So it's like it's surrounded by a wall. It's completely different from the rest of the world. It has developed along its own lines, and that's why they don't have access to information overseas. From overseas, they are not influenced a lot by what's happening all around the world.
Yeah,
it's really individual. You know, it's unique. You don't find it. And I have some clients or leads who tell me, right, we come to you because we want to penetrate the Asian markets, and our priority in the Asian markets is China. And I say, I can help you with China, but Asian markets and China, it's like
different.
It's like European markets and Eurasia and China, or all over the world in China, or the universe in China. You know, so it's like it's just unique, different circumstances.
Okay. So, for example, can you describe a journey of the customer who comes to you? What kind of clients are those usually, and what kind of requirements they've got?
I will start with the customer journey, and I think it will be right for me to explain what's different first. The key difference is, again, as I said, it's a walled garden. The ecosystem is completely different. So probably you know that all the platforms, like anything related to Google, anything related to Meta, like Facebook, Instagram,
they're non-existent in China. Yeah.
They don't exist, and no one needs them at all. YouTube, Spotify, Shopify, Twitter. You can go really, really far, and it's not being used in China. So they have their own things for that, which are slightly similar or completely different. It can be both. TikTok, which is Chinese, we don't use that. We have Douyin, which looks quite similar, but it's way more advanced.
Okay.
So it's like with my Chinese app store, I cannot download TikTok.
Okay.
I can download Douyin.
Douyin.
Right? And I don't have access to the type of content you have on the same type of platform, right? So what happens is that all of those social media platforms, in the end, what they need to generate for the companies, the brands, it's revenues, right?
Yeah.
So what happens in the Chinese market with each platform is that they are fully encompassing. It's like they serve as a tool for awareness, consideration, and purchase.
Okay.
And what you have overseas, imagine someone doing marketing on Facebook, for example, it's awareness, right? Maybe consideration in some cases, but not normally that. Purchase, we don't talk about that when we speak about Facebook at all. So most of the Chinese platforms, they are fully encompassing in this sense. And then what happens next is that all over the world at the moment, e-commerce is really proliferating. 90% of sales in China, they come from e-commerce platforms and not websites. All right? And all over the world, it's kind of vice versa.
Yeah.
So basically, the people, they trust platforms, and that's why they buy from the platforms, and they don't trust merchants. They don't buy from individual websites. This is also something that has those interesting implications, like what people normally think about China. It's a country of scams, fakes, it's a cheap country.
I was about to come to that because looking at the example of marketplace you described online, I obviously don't have a first-hand experience of being on that platform, being a user or buying anything. But there is something similar here in Thailand, which I believe a lot resembles one of those platforms you described, like Line. Line here is sort of WhatsApp, but much better. It's a chat. It has the social media within, and it has the e-commerce, and it has loyalty program, and I don't even know, it also has the delivery program within. So it's like, you don't need anything. You have Line and you can open your business.
For WeChat, one thing I can say about WeChat is that it's not only about doing business. It's like I can delete literally all the apps from my phone.
Yeah.
I can keep WeChat, and I will be able to pay the utilities, to do my job, to study, to communicate with friends, to book flights, to book hotels, to make any type of payments, to do the delivery, to shop, you know, and so on and so forth.
I had no idea, but that's really powerful, yeah.
Yes, and it's actually simple. It has a really, really simple interface.
So you were mentioning about having one of the misconceptions that the Chinese market and these e-commerce platforms full of scams and being cheap. Can you tell us more about how do you tackle that and how do businesses tackle that?
The funny thing is that it's not the businesses who tackle that. It's Alibaba who tackled that in the first place. So they started, Taobao started in 2003. There were a lot of scams, fakes, and anyone, including me, could sell on the platform. I don't say I did, but I mean like a simple person could just open the store, sell whatever. You purchase those Ray-Ban sunglasses, and in one day, the shop doesn't exist anymore, and you don't have any place to go with your fake purchase, right? So this is the reality that happened before. Now then, what Alibaba did is that they started introducing the registration process on Taobao, right? So you had to, and people, there are some signs on the platform to tell you if it's a verified business or no, right? And at the moment, this type of system has been implemented throughout all the platforms, be it social media or e-commerce platforms, all right? So people, they already know what they need to pay attention to, and you do it automatically, right? So this is one thing. Another thing they introduced later is something that is called Tmall. So Tmall is kind of, most of the leads I get, they think Taobao and Tmall, these are different things, but it's kind of the same thing for the end consumer. So we reach out, we open a single app, which is Taobao, and there we can see stores from Tmall and Taobao in general, whatever it may be. What is the concept between Tmall? Is that the regulations are really strict. You need to provide business license, trademark,
address,
and a lot of application letters. You have to. It might take 4 months
to get on it.
To get there. And another thing which is important is that right now it's cheaper, but 4 years ago you had to put the deposit of 25k USD just to have it.
Run the shop there.
One thing is that, all right, you will not invest this type of money into a fake business, right?
Okay.
But another thing is that what we use actively in China is the really favorable return and refund policy.
Yeah.
It's like whatever you buy, almost.
You can return.
You can return it without any reason, without any explanations, within 7 days. No one will tell you anything. You just send it back. A lot of people in China, they're using this.
Misusing it.
Actively, yes. So this deposit is kind of used for that. Okay? So, and the system is so strict, it's so complicated. They need to have a Tmall partner, which is something that we are also doing, for example. So you need to have something certifying that, that there is no chance that you are fake. And Chinese people, when they shop on Tmall, for example, they are searching for, I don't know, Massimo Dutti or something like that. You can have plenty of SKUs on Taobao with Massimo Dutti. Not all of them are coming from the official store, and it's not necessary that the rest are fake. It can be true, but you pay attention to those specific signs, and you already take your decision where you will be buying from, right?
Okay.
They introduced a really smart system of reviews and comments that Chinese merchants also use, interestingly, because everyone knows that the biggest challenge in the Chinese market is their trust issues.
Yeah. Okay.
So e-commerce platforms, they capitalize a lot on that because they know that the consumers trust the platform in the first place rather than the store itself, because the platform sets the rule for the merchants, not for the consumers. The consumers are 100% protected, and when you go on an individual website, the owner of the website makes the rules for the consumer. And Chinese consumers, they don't want to have those rules, right? So it's like that, and then there are many things about the payments. You know, how we deal with the payments. So it's fundamentally different, the consumer, and normally, for returning to the question, returning to the Martins, about the customer journey. So it's like you have to do a lot of branding, not marketing, not just ads, literally branding. You have to have a bond with the consumer, yes. So this is about awareness and consideration, and then you need to have a really smooth
transaction, the conversion part.
Yes, so it's not like you go to one platform. What Chinese platforms also do, it's really, really common practice and a big problem. They are all in competition with each other because they all have their own marketplace. So for example, WeChat, which is the biggest social media, and Taobao, let's say, Taobao Tmall, which is the huge e-commerce platform, for a very long time, until recently, they blocked links to each other.
Okay.
It was like, I can send a link to Taobao to my friend on WeChat, but they cannot open. They need to copy, go to Safari, go to that. So you understand, it's like, and people were still doing this because you cannot give up on Taobao and you cannot give up on WeChat. So it's like But most of the time, it's a really, really smooth experience without going anywhere outside of the platform. You can handle everything.
Okay.
Yes.
But when we work, for example, at energy marketing, and I would suggest to our clients usually work, for example, e-commerce clients, usually is to, if they have a product that will be good for the e-commerce platform, like Amazon, for example, what we have in the UAE, to start there, but then at the same time to have your own digital assets like your website, and in order to have your own data, your customer data, to have it, to own it, because when you own your first-party customer data, then you can basically directly market to them. You have less costs in marketing. You don't have to pay fees to the e-commerce, and basically, when you grow your audience, this is your gold, your data. In China, you mentioned that having your own website doesn't really make sense. You continue selling on. How does it work?
In terms of getting the data and marketing directly to the well. Most of the time, well, it's a really interesting question. You have to be sneaky, basically.
Yes.
You can use your customer data, which you have, for example, if you have a store on Tmall, all right, you use your customer data because Tmall also has functions like influencer marketing, KOL, live streaming, things like that, right? And ads, so you do that there. It has also a messaging system, but no one at the moment is reading the messages, of course. But then you have to use tricks to drive people to other platforms. So, for example, if you take like I will not speak about Douyin at the moment. Let's take Chinese Instagram, right? 𝗙𝗪𝗟𝗪𝗺. So if we take some beauty brand, right? It's a big industry, so it's kind of it's a talking case.
Yeah.
So, for example, they need to have a huge follower base on 𝗙𝗪𝗟𝗪𝗺, right? And they need to somehow tell them that there is a store on Tmall, and vice versa. They need to drive people from Tmall to 𝗙𝗪𝗟𝗪𝗺. And in this case, none of this is possible because 𝗙𝗪𝗟𝗪𝗺 doesn't allow any external link at all. You cannot even say, or you cannot even hint that you have a store on Tmall. So we use some tricks, right? We use some tricks, how to do that. This is our secret formula, let's say, for any marketing agency. And then what we can do on Tmall, for example, is that it's a standard practice. You make some kind of like a business card, you know, you put it inside
in the package.
Parcel, yes, and basically they can have an idea that you can follow me there. But normally people are not stupid; they all know about this, right? And on 𝗙𝗪𝗟𝗪𝗺, what is also quite interesting is that people expect to have millions of followers there. It's never possible, even for medium to big brands, right? So the follower base is always loyal. It's scarce, but it's loyal. So these are the real people who understand how they can buy, right? You can use other ways to tell them about this. It's like mostly through PR, you know, like forums, Q&A, like, have you heard about this brand? Where I can buy it? I have seen a flagship store. When you say a flagship store, most probably it means Tmall, right? So there are already some tricks to talk about that, but direct use, as with the website, is difficult for me to say, to be honest, also because we just don't do that.
Okay, interesting. Very interesting. It's completely different from the rest of the world, indeed. Have you had any case studies where the brand, global brand, let's talk about, for example, Lancome size, or anybody maybe outside beauty, if you know, brands who have entered the Chinese market, but they have actually failed with their branding and marketing for some time or like permanently?
I will not say it's my own case studies because it will not show me in good light, but I will say that there are plenty of those. It includes Revlon. Right now they are trying to do something again.
Revlon is a beauty brand,
Yes, and it's old, it's famous. Body Shop also. They have re-entered like not a long time ago, but they couldn't make it in China for a really long time. But I will cover an interesting case because I have been actually directly in touch with the brand. It's 𝗙𝗪𝗟𝗪𝗪𝗺.
Okay.
a lot of people, especially from Ukraine, Russia, Kazakhstan, I guess, know the brand. France, of course.
Well, it is a global brand, yeah.
Yes. So 𝗙𝗀𝗟𝗏 belongs to Russia Group. Right? It's the second largest group in France in beauty. And they have, I think they have around 10 brands. Some of them are actually doing well in China. 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗏𝗪, it's kids' clothing, if I'm not mistaken. They have offline presence, which is at the moment like next step in China, right? If you are good online, you can go offline.
Okay.
So they have both. Yes, it's. I think it's doing great. But for 𝗙𝗙𝗟𝗏, they had a completely different strategy, and I guess they have hoped that their worldwide demand, will make it easy for them, because this type of brand, normally they are, okay, we are already famous, wherever we go, the doors are all open, right? So they did the same.
Yeah.
I think they first sent to us, I was not in the company yet, I think it was 2016, 17, something like that, and they asked for influencers, because this is something that brands hear a lot of stories about influencers in China. It's like you can make millions in one day, literally. It also happened to us. I had a real case study when...
It happens, yes.
But I'm against that, like 100%. No, 90% against that. So they asked to do that. We explained, it's like a lottery. You put the money.
Yeah.
Maybe it will not happen. All right, they wanted that. I remember at that time they had a small offline shop right in the heart of Shanghai. I was really happy about that shop, and it closed. And they have exited the market completely. So they never did anything else, and they are still not selling. And me, I remember that I ordered a vanilla lotion from 𝗙𝗙𝗟𝗏, which is like really something you can get anywhere. I asked a person to bring it from Thailand. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
So it's really, and then what's interesting, I've been contacted several years ago by 𝗙𝗏𝗪. 𝗙𝗏𝗪,
nail polish.
Not only, but it's like makeup.
Yeah, everything.
And it's a Turkish brand originally. I was so happy that they reached out to us. I didn't have a lot of experience at that time yet, and I only started with cosmetics, but I knew a lot about them because when I was a kid, my mom was selling their cosmetics in Odessa. And Odessa is like 45 minutes away from Istanbul, so of course we had a lot of that. And I was like, oh, wow. And I realized when we had the meeting and they invited, after some meetings, they invited someone from the board.
Yeah.
I understood that they now belong to Russia Group.
Okay.
And I was like, it's really interesting. And at some point before that, they told me, you seem to have worked with 𝗙𝗙𝗟𝗏. Can you tell me a little bit more about this case? So they understand how things are going on, and that it already failed, right? We agreed on a particular budget. We made a strategy. And they were like, right, we want to find a distributor. There's absolutely no branding. You can't find any type of information online in China about this brand. So it's really, really complicated. Recently, I have seen that they have re-entered the market. But they are trying to do the thing exactly in the same way as they did before, like no branding, just resting on the laurels of being successful elsewhere. 𝗙𝗪𝗪 is a really old brand. It's more than 20 years old.
Yes, not everybody knows it even outside. Yeah.
Yes. So you can't do the same thing and expect a different result, right? But they are trying and trying, because this is the challenge. Everyone wants to have a distributor in China, but they think the distributor will take care of everything. But the thing is that everything in China is actually expensive. And the distributors, they not only don't want to pay their money and risk, Chinese people are really not risk takers at all.
Okay.
A distributor has to be, they have competition, In beauty industry, you have 85,000 distributors in China.
Wow.
So they are all fighting for the market, and they prefer, Chinese people are like that. They take easy options. They will not struggle. They will not lean on there's a potential, we have sales elsewhere. This doesn't help. And also the maximum they would do in marketing, normally, in 98% of cases, is that they will do some ads.
Okay.
And if you don't have branding, you can do as many ads as you want, especially in China where ads could be bought before it can be something fake.
Yeah.
There were cases where people were led to a website of a clinic and the clinic was fake. So they paid to the clinic and it was done purely with ads.
Okay.
All right. So people don't understand. It just will not work this way. You can, a distributor will tell you, all right, we will order a lot. In the end, they order a little bit. They try. They understand. All right, it's really complicated. You say bye bye. You know. So this is what Russia Group, for some reason,
failed to understand.
Is doing. Yes, they are really, really smart and nice people, but they struggle a lot with China.
Okay. But if we talk about maybe small to medium businesses that also want to enter the market, they might have been elsewhere popular or growing fast. I have a couple of clients also who are now entering China, and I believe they already have distributors and marketing partners perhaps as well. But how do they basically tackle entering the China? How do they make their branding?
Well, the key point here is actually that you need to start from scratch, right? So it's like if we take fashion brands, beauty brands, things like this, it will be same. What they do overseas is that they do their marketing and branding on Instagram or on TikTok. I don't know if it's applicable. For us, it's applicable. And then it means that in China, they need to do the same type of thing, but it has to be localized, right? So we start with Chinese Instagram, which is a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And to gain some traction, and then you can use KOL. Maybe not the big ones. We normally suggest to have an army of influencers. They can give you a little bit more exposure, right? So you spread the word. You need to put some comments, as like I mentioned, forums, PR, where it's visible that people are talking about you. It's not like you are posting something. You will never say anything bad about yourself, right?
Yeah.
So people have to say something.
Social proof. Yeah.
KOL influencers, everyone knows it's paid, right?
Yeah.
So this is also not a tool for credibility. It's only a tool for exposure. So you need to have patience. At the same time, you need to be fast, actually. So this is how they start. And I have an interesting example. Drunk Elephant, for example. They entered China in 2020.
Sorry, what is that? Drunk Elephant?
It's pretty famous in the US. It's a US brand, and in Europe they are also pretty famous. It's hair care mostly. They also have some skincare, as far as I'm concerned. But I think
unusual name for the hair care.
Yes. They have funny designs, like their marketing looks really bright. You should check the brand because I think you will love the style.
I think I already like it.
Yes. So everything is really colorful, At the same time, the design is quite simplistic, but still poppy.
Okay.
So I wanted to mention this brand just because they got traction in China quite fast, But they took it seriously. They went purely localization.
Okay.
So it's nice.
You mentioned it's not cheap, Chinese market, and to enter it. How much budget would approximately in the range a small to medium company, we're not going to talk about big brands because it depends on how much they want to spend, they have all the money, but how much money has small to medium company that enters, let's say with a consumer good, enters the market and need to spend on branding at least in the beginning? In the US dollars.
Of course. Yeah. There is always a way to find an ROI friendly option. So of course, if the company is really small and they are ready, that they would need some patience, they can spend 2K, 5K USD per month. It's possible to do that.
Okay.
The thing here is not just about the budget. I always say it's about the golden triangle, right? You have the budget, you have the time frame and you have the goals.
Okay.
So it's like if you tell me, for example, the goal is to have 1 million followers on Little Red Book and they don't have the budget, or they have 2K and they want to do it in 6 months, I will say, sorry, it's not realistic, right? But it's possible, I don't know, let's say if we focus only on branding and we take Chinese Instagram, the Little Red Book, into account, with 2K per month, they can have maybe weekly posts, and they can also have some budget on promotion.
Okay.
All right, so it's like
that's not too bad, yeah.
It's good to have something to start with, right? Because they need to start. But of course, if you compare, also it depends on the industry and the competitors they have. Because if you take some Chinese businesses, there's no foreign company without offices in China, without like a long-term official representatives. There, yes. There's no way for a simple foreign company to compete with the Chinese competitors, because they understand the real costs and they spend sometimes billions of RMB, okay, several hundred millions USD on promotion. And they do completely crazy thing, and it's everywhere, and they all have all the platforms, right? So it's possible to do it with a small budget, provided that people are patient and they understand we cannot do anything. There's no magic pill.
Yeah. That's. I think that applies to all global marketing in general, and that's also what we are facing sometimes with our customers that have also these ambitious ideas, less budget that they're supposed to have for those ideas, and then very short time frame. In Dubai specifically, everything had to be done yesterday.
Same.
They could have budgets, but they had to be done yesterday, and they call us today.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It happens in China as well.
Yeah, in China too.
We normally say that it's not the biggest fish that wins in China. It's the fastest one.
Yes, that I definitely feel. I definitely feel in general. Like I think it's a culture, because there's so many of them, and in individuals itself, I think they're also competitive in general.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's if you're not gonna be there first, there's gonna be a million other people there first, and you're gonna be million one in the line.
Of course,
wow.
Of course.
That's amazing. I just want to ask you one last very important question, such as you're a very great experienced marketeer and in general personal experience living in China, working there. What would be your main $1 million advice to perhaps female marketeers who are starting and aspiring in this direction, or to anyone as business maybe who wants to enter the market? You choose whatever advice you want to give.
Talking about marketers, the best advice I can give is to learn every day.
Yeah.
Especially at the moment when everything is so fast with AI, which is also an interesting topic. You have to learn every day, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. And to be brave and bold, right?
Yes. Yeah.
To push forward. And for those who would like to enter the Chinese market, it's exactly what I said. You have to be fast and you have to be ready for full localization.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really sounds like $1 million advice from Ina. And if you want to tell a bit more about how to find you, what's your agency name again, and if you guys want to get in touch with her for any advice, or if you're a company watching and you want to get their services, please.
Thank you for this opportunity again. You can search for Gentelmen Marketing Agency. All right, on LinkedIn, this is probably the easiest and most efficient way, and you can find Ina.
Yeah,
I guess you will recognize me. And if you are looking for a website, you have some needs and you want to talk to someone else, you can go to marketing.with.kuralay.
Yeah, very simple, straightforward.
Yes, exactly.
Search keyword-related marketing channel. I'm going to put the links as well as your LinkedIn profiles, and you can guys get in touch with her directly. Thank you for watching, and subscribe and thumbs up everything that YouTube people say.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Ina, for your time. It was a pleasure having you.
Ditto. Thank you.